Now I know it's only a head for now, but maybe next time we'll have the full suit ready, so I'll be back with the Springlock suit in under a few months. Wow, that was 9 months ago. Yup, that's right. I'm back and I'm ready to show the full suit at display. This project took way longer than I expected, and I had no idea it would take up this much of my free time. For the past 9 months, it's been such a load on my chest, and every day when I look in the corner of my room, all I can see was my lack of progress on the suit, dreading the fact that it might not ever be done. But at last, I made it through and I'm really proud of how it turned out. Now, there's many challenges I faced. For example, my bad habits when it comes to huge projects like these. I tend to procrastinate a lot. Not only that, but I'm also a full-time high school student and balancing other personal projects. So yeah, time is a really big issue here. However, my biggest challenge while making the suit was debating if I would 3D print it or make the suit entirely out of foam. Now, it may not seem like a big issue, but really think about it. My head for the suit was entirely made out of 3D printed filament, so you would think that 3D printing the rest of the suit would be the most logical thing to do, right? Though, we need to consider how heavy that would be because my mask alone feels like a dumbbell on my head. Not only that, but it would also be quite expensive to print out the whole thing. So I went for the slightly cheaper option and made the suit entirely out of foam. I say slightly cheaper because I spent around $100 on this. Yeah. This is where the first obstacle came in. I've never made a full body cosplay before. I mean, I made a few crappy masks, but this would be the first time I've ever made a full-scaled cosplay. I didn't know what to do. Luckily, I've been following this YouTuber for years called Animatronic, and in case you don't know, Animatronic is a content creator who does cosplay, typically FNAF ones, and thanks to her videos, I had some knowledge on how to get started. Seriously, go check out their channel. They were a real lifesaver and probably saved me countless hours when it came to making this project. Anywho, it's time to get started. First thing I hopped into was the torso. In case you're wondering on why I'm not starting with the head, that's actually because I made that in a separate video. I recommend you watch it first, but hey, I'm not your mom, and you can watch the videos in whatever order you want. I'm not great at explaining the process, so I'm just gonna play this clip from Animatronic.
You're going to want to measure from your lower back, up around your shoulder, and down to your lower torso where your tummy will end. That's how long our piece is going to be made. Next, we need to cut it out, add a head hole, and throw it on. Hold up your foam and mark the ends of your shoulders. Then get them the heck out of here. Overlap your flaps, mark where they sit, cut them off, and glue.
That's exactly what I did. I wish I can show you some footage of my process, however, my dumbass forgot to record that. Anywho, I just finished it off with a zipper on the back to hold it off, and after furring it, my torso was officially done. The legs were fairly simple. For each leg, I measured the thickest part of my thigh, the thickest part of my knee, and of course the length of my thigh. Then it was only a matter of cutting out the measurements on some half-inch foam and forming it into this weird-looking tube thing. The process was pretty much the same for the calves as well. After that, I created this weird underwear-looking piece to attach the legs with. The feet were easy enough. I just got some off-brand Crocs and built around them with some half-inch foam. It was only a matter of covering everything up with yellow fur, and the entire bottom half was pretty much done. Yeah, this part was by far the easiest. In fact, we already did this part with the legs. All I did was take my measurements for my arms and form the same tubes I did for the legs. Nothing mind-breaking here. I don't know if you caught on, but if you actually watch Animatronic's suit making process, you know that she actually makes her entire suit out of foam before she covers everything up with fabric. However, I'm just too impatient, and I focus on each individual part. This really doesn't add on to the video, I just thought it was an interesting observation. Speaking of foam, we'll be taking a break from that and bring back the good old reliable 3D printer. We're going to be using it to print the gloves. I decided to print the gloves because I did originally make the gloves out of foam, but in all honesty, it was just too difficult to get the shape right for me. I wasn't satisfied. I don't know why it was so hard. I guess it's just a skill issue in my end. Anyways, the fingers were done printing and it was time to cover them up, which sucked because it was so tedious covering each individual finger, and I probably burned myself at least 50 times while trying to do this. But hey, I got them done. Ah shit, I gotta do the other hand. Looks like we got both hands done. Yeah, the fingers are still a pain in the ass to put on. Since we're pretty much done with the base of the suit, I think it's time for those small details. As you know, the animatronics aren't exactly this clean. They're actually pretty dirty seen in the games and movie, which I think really adds to the scare factor. Like, you can tell these animal characters really would appeal to kids in a Chuck E. Cheese-like setting. However, when you see these characters in bad conditions mixed with dark lighting, it really brings a sense of fear into you. Like, you're seeing your own childhood being corrupted right in front of you. I think this series is a good mix of good nostalgic fun and horror, which is why so many kids and adults really connect with it. I really wanted to recreate the same vibe, so I dirtied up my suit with some acrylic paint. I got myself a water bottle and mixed brown, yellow, black, and orange paint together to get a similar texture to what Springbonnie has in the movie. I left his stomach unpainted because his stomach's lighter than the base color. And one detail I added was adding this dark outline around his belly so it pops out more. After I was done painting, I was left off with this very nice crispy color. Anyways, we can't forget about his bow and buttons, and bam, the suit is finished. Oh, I almost forgot. I added some changes to the mask because I realized I got some of the colors off. The snout was meant to be lighter, and so are the inner of his ears. For some reason, I made the ears a darker color. I don't know what I was thinking. It's all good now because the mask looks more accurate, though it's far from perfect. If I can go back, I would totally redo this mask, but I'll save that for another day. It's done. After several months of my life being put down the drain, it's finally done. Despite the struggles I face, the amount of cuts and burns I have, and despite how much money it all was, I can proudly say it was all worth it. Not only because I have a full costume to show off, but because of how satisfying it was to see my progress, even if that progress was a little slow. Yes, some steps were a hassle, but it was all worth it, just so I can look at my Springbonnie suit and say, I made that. In fact, I want to do more silly projects like this one, so why don't you join me on the ride and subscribe to the channel. For people that don't already know, I do other content as well, like music, animation, live streams, and silly videos like the one you're watching right now. I actually have a FNAF music video on the works to celebrate the 10th year anniversary, so if that interests you, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll be tuning out.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still even remember that name. But I'm afraid you've been misinformed. You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called. You have all been called here, into a labyrinth of sounds and smells, misdirection, and misfortune. A labyrinth with no exit, a maze with no prize. You don't even realize that you are trapped. Your lust for blood has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of children in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near, yet somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will. This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. I am remaining as well. I am nearby. This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still, and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace, and perhaps more, waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, friend.